Hello, this is Victor at RestoringMercedes.com. This video is for George in Maryland. Okay, George, so I got your units here repaired. Well, first we go with the passenger side. This unit was rebuilt, as you know it. So basically, all I did is I opened up the motor, just cleaned it up. One of the brushes in the motor was replaced previously, but there was a lot of dirt in it, so I have to still do it. That I've done, plus potentiometer had cracks, so I glued those up. So now unit is definitely fine. Another thing I did is the connector over here. It's very, very tight. It was so tight I could not really release it from my bench test. So I grind it down so at least it fits and it can be pulled out with pliers, because it's really, when they glued it, I mean, I don't know, they didn't glue it right, so it's a little too large, it's a little too big for the actual holder. So I grind it down, but it's still tight, but at least it can be pulled out. Now going back to the Egas module that you mailed me, here's your Egas right here. So this is a 129 model part number. As you see, this is not a convertible, this is a coupe. It's a S600 95, so it's a coupe, but Egas module will work in this car, except that it's not going to be able to read on the start diagnostic, but activation and everything will be fine. So it's a good test, and it's going to be proper test for your throttle bodies and Egas module, because basically it's a standalone unit that's going to work as long as all the wiring diagram is the same, which is in S600 or SL600 is the same, but again, start diagnostic will catch it and it won't be able to read it. It will just tell you to insert the correct module. Now here's the driver's side unit. This one was bad. I sent you a couple of pictures. You know how wires were. They were deteriorated. The return spring, I zip tied not to lose it to the actual loom here, so you're gonna be able to put it back right on this little thing right here, so the return spring. And I cleaned the unit up a little bit so it just looks nice, and put the date on it, 8 of 2015. That's when it was done. Here's the other side of it. Gasket is preserved. If you want to reuse it, it looks to be reusable. I would like to put in a new gasket, but if you wish, you can reuse it. It's not ripped. It's in pretty good shape actually, so I don't see a problem reusing it. But I would put a little silicone around it just in case, just a fine bit of silicone. Now, basically this is the early style throttle body. You have bigger bolts here. As you can see, the heads are larger versus the one that you have repaired. So in that case, this one does not have issues with motors. Okay, so this motor did not have to be touched, except the only thing that I did is potentiometer, and potentiometer was cracked, so I just repaired that. I just glued it so it's not going to spread anymore. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start the, well, actually not to start the car, but I'll put on the ignition and show you that throttle bodies activate. Now again, this car is being repaired, so I'm working on the steering angle sensor because it's not working correctly. So we're going to put on the ignition. Here's our ignition. Now we're going to activate throttles. First thing you hear is a buzzing noise from throttle bodies. I mean, both of them are buzzing. First and second one. I mean, you can't probably hear it because I have my microphone on me. There goes the travel, the idle stop learning. And now we're going to activate both of them at the same time. I'm going to focus from one to another, but right now, when you open one, obviously you see the other one follows, so they both work synchronized. Let camera focus on this one. So as you can see, both units work fine and synchronized. Now, if there would be any issues with any of these units, then throttles would stop operating and it will go into limp mode. If there would be a problem with Egas module, that would always show, because Egas module is the one that controls these things. So obviously it would just send them into limp mode, whereas it would have been something like this. Let me shut down the ignition, and that basically is duplicating the limp mode. Your ignition is off. So what we have here is basically a limp mode. Now in limp mode, when you activate the throttle, nothing happens until you press all the way down to the floor. You activate throttle about 3/4 of the way on the driver's side, but passenger side is not activating. That is off position. That's limp mode, where second throttle does not open. So you obviously want both open in sync, and that's what they're doing. So Egas module and both throttles are fine now at this point. Put on the ignition again, so you can see that both of them work again in sync. Again, I cannot focus on both at once, but that's how they work, and that's basically fine. Now I only have 3 minutes left in this video, so again, this is your Egas module that you mailed me. There is a sticker on it with your name on it. Last test I'm going to do, I'm going to start it up, and I'll show you that there is no ASR light when the car is running. Now you have to understand that because I don't have proper air supply, the engine is not going to run correctly, but purpose of the start of the engine to show that computers communicate and throttles still activate. If I do it a couple of times, it will go into limp mode, because it does not see a micro switch on the gas pedal. But as you can see, the engine is running and there is no limp mode, and throttles still activate. So that tells me that the Egas module and both throttles are fine at this point. If I'm gonna leave it there, that is a limp mode, because micro switch is not connected, the linkage is not connected, so now it's a limp mode, because I have to have linkage connected and micro switch on the gas pedal to be seen by the computer. But a couple of quick activation confirm that both units work fine, and if they're on the vehicle, they will work just fine as well. So that's the idea. That's why I actually connect them and run them. But if I'm not going to touch them, if you can see, there is no ASR light, only SRS light, because I have no airbag. But units are energized and running. Okay, so it is a long video, but I just wanted to make as accurate as I can, best test I could do. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna shut it down now, so you have an idea. All right, this was for George in Maryland, and this is Victor at restoringmercedes.com. Thanks for watching.